What's going on, everybody? This is your girl Bree with Busy Bree Hot Topics. I have an exciting show for you today. I also have my girl Lovey D, my partner in crime. She's about to bring on a phenomenal interview, perfect for Black History Month. We're so excited. What's going on, Lovey D?
I'm here. I'm in it to win.
Hey. In it to win it. So my girl Lovey is about to bring on a woman by the name of Dr. Elaine Schott, and her story is phenomenal. It's a rags to riches story, straight out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, and it's going to be an inspiring story for anybody, I would say, who has had restrictions in life. You know, she grew up in segregation, and she went really far in her education. So, Lovey, tell the audience just a little bit about what we can expect for the interview so that they don't miss it when you get ready to bring her on.
So we don't want to spoil it for you guys, but we're going to be bringing on the amazing, beautiful Dr. Elaine Ragsdale Schott. She's going to be giving us some insight on how she grew up, what she endured growing up, her obstacles, her hurdles, her trials, her achievements. So this is going to be an amazing interview. And like you said, Black History Month, what better time to do it?
Absolutely. It's the perfect time, honestly. And, you know, I don't know about you, but in school, I don't feel like we saw or heard a lot of inspiring stories like this. You know, as you know, there's a ton of like Black inventors, both male and female. And I don't feel that I got introduced to that a lot in school, elementary school, middle school, or even high school. It really wasn't until college. And I think it is perfect because Dr. Elaine Schott is a retired college professor and of sociology, and I'm pretty sure she's going to put a lot of insight into her interview in regards to that. And what about you? Do you feel like you were told a lot about all the contributions that African Americans brought into our?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, I grew up in the Midwest in Missouri, so definitely didn't get the Black history lessons. So just being on with Dr. Schott today is going to be an amazing thing for me. Again, growing up in the Midwest, didn't get the Black history class even. You just had the Black History Month,
Yeah.
You always hear about the Martin Luther Kings and the Rosa Parks, but just being able to just hear today and introduce the Dr. Elaine Schott. She's a trailblazer herself within her own right. So just having her on again, perfect time, Black History Month.
Absolutely. And another thing, someone who's going to be watching this podcast and listening in on the radio, they're going to be inspired because, as you know, not everybody was born into, the perfect family.
Right.
Sometimes we have restrictions, whether it's an abusive home, people who didn't really align with your purpose or supported you as a child and what you wanted to do, and in her case, this would be society, right? So no one would really look at her and think of a college professor, especially, growing up in the 40s and 50s and having to deal with all of the horrible things that African Americans had to endure during that time. And I think this will be a truly inspiring interview for certain people anyways.
Definitely encouraging. So, after today, no one should have an excuse. If she went through the things that she's going to tell us about and how she still became an achiever, it's like, now what is your excuse?
Yep.
So for her to be able to just share all this with us today, I'm like over the moon just even, to hear about. I love these kind of things. So these kind of interviews I live for. So just having her on again, I feel like I'm just sitting here with one of the greatest trailblazers again, that she could just be another encouragement for all of us, especially, not to dismiss the guys, but just to have a Black woman who can come to the forefront for us today and just, again, empower us all, male and female alike. But me as a Black woman myself, and having a Black daughter and having a Black granddaughter, these are the things that I want them to be able to see. Like, you have no excuse. Dr. Schott today, just she's going to break the glass ceiling and let us she's going to open it all up for us. I'm excited.
I'm really excited. I know when I was in school, I did have a few teachers and professors that I could relate to. And I don't feel like teachers and professors get a lot of credit. I really don't, because they can inspire you and change your entire future.
They can make you or break you. And that's the thing I'm so glad to hear you say, that a lot of teachers, and I'm glad we have Dr. Schott here today, I can say I don't want to say that they don't get it. I think some of them, they just lose that lack of enthusiasm and passion for it when they became, for what they really truly became a teacher or instructor or professor for. Because at some point, all of us, I can say for myself, meeting someone who was a teacher, professor, actually, she was a Black female, which really was my encouragement. I had never thought about wanting to be an accountant, but just seeing her, just the way she dressed, her rapport, the way she carried herself, she probably never knew the impact she made on me till later on when I saw her and told her she was the reason I made the choice to become an accountant. So just having Dr. Schott here today, I'm certain she's going to make a huge impact on some of our listeners and viewers today.
Absolutely. I do. I remember talking to a few people, and if you've ever listened to some of these actors and actresses and people who have done big things, they talk about that one specific teacher or professor that really changed their life around. I know, like Halle Berry has talked about a very specific teacher who she's still a friend with today that really helped her kind of just chase after her dreams. Because, in life, sometimes as adults, we can project our fears and our limitations on children. And I mean it as a collective, not us personally, but you're aware of what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
And I think teachers and professors are truly not only there to just teach in the analytical or intelligent sense, but also emotionally and spiritually. And they can really speak to you. And they have such a huge impact in a child's life.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard so many stories about this teacher. She, I remember I was going through a hard time at home or I was abused, but this teacher, I just loved going to this specific class because they were able to just shop
every day.
Yes.
They knew they were going to get someone, if not at home, when I got to school or to class. I know I have Miss Jane Doe who's going to bring that sunshine to my life that I'm not getting nowhere else. She's going to keep me encouraged. She's going to keep me uplifted. She's going to make sure that I'm getting what I need in that nurture that I'm not anywhere else. So when you have someone that can give you that nurture, it's a teacher or instructor, a professor, it just means so much. It's so much because like you said, you're not there just to learn about the books. They're teaching you life as well. They're teaching skills. They're teaching you skills. So
that's exactly right. You know what I'd be interested to hear from this interview? Did Miss Schott, did Dr. Elaine Schott have any kind of influences? Because it was kind of limited with the African American professors, and so what did she see a lot of that growing up? Did she, what inspired her to go that far if she didn't see a whole lot of African American women going into that profession and going that far? And what was her drive? Like, I'm really curious because, even like when I was growing up, what I wanted to do, nobody else was really doing, or they didn't talk about it, or they didn't express
the norm. Yeah.
Exactly. You know how it is. And, there's been a lot of research about where you're from and the environment you're in really does take a toll on a person and really can structure their future. And if she didn't see that, where did this come from? Because, obviously somebody has to set the trend, like the very first Black doctor or the very first African-American woman in politics, or, just setting that ceiling. What was her inspiration? Like, I'm really curious to know, and I'm sure you're going to dive into that. What was her inspiration?
So that's something we're going to get it all. We're going to get it all laid out. Dr. Schott is going to be an open book for us today. So those are one of the things we definitely want to know. What motivated her? What was her, what made her want to, like you said, was she going to be the first? Did she see somebody else do it? So those are some of the things we're definitely going to dive into with this interview today with Dr. Schott. Again, I think she's going to be an open book. She's all ready to go. She's fired up. She's ready to let us know, because I think she, again, definitely is a trailblazer in her own right. And for anybody who doesn't take anything from this show and the positive and run with it to where they know, again, if she can do it, I can do it. So I want to know if Dr. Elaine saw somebody say, and did she say, I saw her do it, so I can do it. So yeah.
And that's important because there hasn't always been a lot of that representation, in some people's lives. And so it is important to get these stories out. I know that you plan to bring some more people on to this show in the near future. So I'm excited to see some of the other interviews both you and I will be tackling, because I'm all about like the inspirational stories. I really almost need that, because sometimes when we're growing up, everybody has the naysayers, right? And they can even be in your own family. The naysayers, oh, you can't do that. What makes you think you can do that? And anybody who has done something that's not of the norm, of especially in that time, you have to pull that inner strength, which I'm pretty sure she has a lot of. You have to pull from that inner strength, that inner voice in you that just, I'm going to keep going. I don't care who doesn't believe in me. I'm going to keep going. And I'm hoping from this interview that will be the case. In fact, I know it's going to be the case.
Well,
so I'm really.
That's what the Spotlight is all about. I mean, so that's what we're here for this moment, to highlight and recognize those that you were just mentioning, those who took the leap of faith, those who went against the odds, those who went all the obstacles that no one else thought that they could and would do, and yet they came out an achiever. So that's what the Sojourner Truth Spotlight is all about. So that's why we're here.
Absolutely. Now, before we've got a few minutes before Elaine comes on with Lovey. So I just kind of wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about what the Sojourner Truth Spotlight is all about. It's going to be about representing people. We'll either be interviewing people or we'll just be talking about their stories. People who, especially women, but we'll also bring on men, of course, as well. But if anybody knows who Sojourner Truth is, and I'm hoping everyone does, and if they don't, please Google ASAP.
If they don't, they will.
Right. And it's okay, because sometimes our school systems don't do the best job of getting the information out. Right. I mean,
they won't. They don't.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Exactly. And we'll talk. That'll be another show. We'll definitely be diving in. That'll be a whole nother show. But that's what the Sojourner Truth Spotlight is. It's going to be shining a spotlight on some of the stories that I don't feel, and Lovey does not feel, the public knows about or doesn't have enough information about. And it's going to be our job to get that information out to you guys, because we don't want you to think that there aren't these phenomenal people in the world, because there are. There are a ton of phenomenal, just amazing people that never get any representation and you don't hear much about. And we want to get those stories out to you guys. That is our passion. Like, we are so excited about it, and we're just pumped up about it. And I know that I think we've got like 5 or 6 others after this, and we've got more people writing in and calling us every day wanting to be interviewed. We're looking over the interviews. We're making sure that we bring you nothing but the best cream of the crop. Am I right?
That's all we got.
That's what we got. So we're about to bring it to you guys here in a few. Again, this is 97.3 FM, The Heat, Busy Breeze, Hot Topics. Elaine Schott is about to step up to, Dr. Elaine Schott is about to step up to the microphone. And please, please listen in, because she is going to give you some nuggets that you cannot even pay for. This is good information. I always say, money's great, but there's nothing like having that knowledge coming straight from the person's mouth. And we're about to bring that to you here in a few. So any last words, Lovey?
Nope. Just make sure you guys, take your break or whatever you got to do and come on back. And we're going to be introducing the amazing Dr. Elaine Schott. And again, you can't get it nowhere else other than here, unless you're going to go to the History Channel. And we have history sitting here with us today. So make sure you're following us.
Hey, real quick, speaking of that with the History Channel, I feel like they really, I almost feel, this is bad, but I almost feel like animals get even more attention. Is that bad to say? Like,
we're not gonna trash the
History Channel.
But we want to make sure that they understand after today, we want to see more of this on network TV. We want to see
absolutely. And we're here to bring it to you.
That have not gotten out there. We want to get past the ones that we already know about. Not past, but we want to add to the knowledge of the Martin Luther King, the Rosa Parks, and even with doing Sojourner Truth, even though we know Sojourner Truth, do we know Sojourner Truth? So that's what this spotlight is going to be for more than anything. We want to make sure that we're acknowledging Sojourner Truth and the descendants of Sojourner Truth. Yep. We're going to talk more about in the interview, but as well as all of those who the system dropped the ball on and us not getting that knowledge.
That's right. All right, let's get it going, you guys. We will take a quick break, and when we come back, please don't miss this. You will not, in fact, you will not want to miss this interview. Okay. So hang on tight. We're going to take a quick break and we will be right back with Dr. Elaine Schott. Lovey D is about to throw it down.
Support for the Heat. 97.3 FM comes from Grand Rapids Community College, Tassel M-Tech.
Start your career in healthcare. Career training programs at Grand Rapids Community College prepare you for in-demand jobs like certified nurse aide, community health worker, direct support professional, pharmacy technician, and phlebotomy technician. Financial aid assistance is provided to eligible students to complete their studies. For more details, go to grcc.edu/healthcare.
Hey guys, this is your girl Bree with Busy Bree's Hot Topics. I hope you've been tuning in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where me and my friends Lovey D and Jennifer Real 100 bring you the best in interviews, hot topics, entertainment news, and much, much more. If you can't be anywhere else, then be at Busy Breeze. We brighten up your day and make it just a little bit lighter.
Our mothers, our sisters, our friends' lives are at stake. Help raise awareness and join the Heat 97.3 FM in the fight against the #1 killer at the Grand Rapids Go Red for Women Luncheon on February 29th at 10:30 a.m. Tickets and event info is at heart.org/Grand Rapids Go Red. That's heart.org/Grand Rapids Go Red. Thank you, American Heart Association.
This is Lovey D with Busy Breeze Hot Topics. Be sure to tune in this Wednesday and Friday for a special interview with Dr. Elaine Schott. You will not want to miss it. I look forward to seeing you there.
You are listening to Busy Breeze Hot Topics on the Heat 97.3 FM.
And we are back. And of course, you can see I have here with me on today, kicking off Black History Month, the amazing Dr. Elaine Schott. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. So happy to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you here. So we want to just start off, I want you to just give us a brief introduction of who you are.
Well, my name is Elaine Schott, and I grew up in the state of Virginia.
Okay.
When I grew up, life was segregated everywhere. So that was just life.
We don't want to tell your age, but can you tell us around the time frame that was?
Well, let's see. I'm trying to recall. I'm thinking now, was I alive, or was Black History Month already in force, or was that a little bit before my time?
Okay.
But it was a long time ago.
Okay.
Over 7 decades, if that helps.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So then that helps.
Yeah.
That helps. Okay. So I grew up in the segregated South in Virginia, small town, very small town. Schools were segregated. Everything was segregated. And I think back of a lot of things in my early childhood that helped to mold me. And one of the things that I recall is that I tried to observe a lot of things, but when you're young and for Blacks, there was no kindergarten, so we weren't going to be getting preschool or anything like that. So you watched and you took a look at lots of different things. I spent a lot of time with my grandparents, my grandmother and my grandfather, and we lived with them for a while. So I learned a lot from them. My grandfather was like a handy person, and he was very bright, and he could do woodwork, he could do different things, he could count, and he would fascinate us by counting backwards from 200 and doing the alphabet and so forth. My grandmother worked in an office, and the office was the effort to begin a Black insurance agency because farmers and people who lived in the community didn't have any way of preparing for burial when somebody died in the family. And so they were doing this, and it was very piecemeal. But anyway, Grandma had an office, and I would oftentimes go down with her to the office. So I saw that a lot.
Okay.
And there were different relatives and extended family around. There was this one person, and her name was Aunt Lizzie.
I'm sorry.
Aunt Lizzie.
Aunt,
That's
okay.
yeah, Aunt Lizzie. Yeah, and Aunt Lizzie would always corner all of the little kids. What are you going to be when you grow up? What are you going to be when you grow up? And we would see her. We'd try to run and hide from her because what are we going to say this time?
Did you ever answer her?
Oh yes, we had an answer, but
Okay.
it was like, well, yeah, and she was like in her 90s.
Okay.
And I think she was one of the first, if not the first, Black supervisor of education in the state of Virginia.
Okay. Was there a lot of Black people in those type of positions back then?
No.
Just
No.
very few.
Very, very, very few.
Okay.
And she was very wiry, tiny, but a force to be reckoned with.
Okay.
Particularly around the kids. I don't know what she was like otherwise, but anyway. So that was one of the things. And then Grandma told us a lot about things, but only after she was more grown. I don't know anything about what her childhood was like.
Okay.
I do know that she was one of the first people that was a student at what is now Virginia State University, but at that time it was called Virginia State College when I was growing up, or I think it was Virginia Normal Institution or something like that.
Okay.
And so we knew that had happened, but I never knew how that happened to be. And I never knew how could she have ever afforded to go to college, because at her age, clearly her family and she probably was born into slavery.
Okay.
I don't know that, haven't been able to find out about it, but I was always curious.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I started. And I do remember too, when I got larger and I could read and so forth, I wanted to go to the library. So, it's small town, so we'd ride the bike to the library.
Okay.
I'd get the bike, I would go up to the library. It was about a mile away. I knew that I probably wouldn't get in because
so
I didn't.
Was this a segregated time as well? So this was
Yes.
a white library?
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't know why I did it, I tell you, but I would get on the bike, I would ride up there, and I'd go, I knew they were going to reject me. They would tell me I can't come in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd turn around and go back home, and then I'd come back the next day.
Well, let me ask you, as a child being told no,
Mhm.
and you knew it was because of your skin color, how did that make you feel?
I knew what it was. I knew they were fools. I didn't take it too personally.
You never got angry or wanted to
Not when I was
respond?
not when I was like 8, 9, 10,
Okay.
11. It was later on I did get a little bit more, not just a little
Can
bit,
you
a lot more.
can you tell us something about that? Because a lot of the younger people, even today, like what you're telling us, for us, when we look back and we watch these things on TV, we be like, oh, I would have reacted this way. I would have lashed out. I would have done this. So when you got to a point that you were not the 8 or 9-year-old on your bike and being told no, and you became of age and you were being still told no, how did you respond? And then at that point, how did you feel?
It took a lot of self-control, because the thing was, the theme always was, I will get your parents, meaning the racists.
Gotcha.
And I remember going to a store once, my mom sent me for something and it gave me 25 cents a quarter. And the goods cost 10 cents. So I should get 15 cents back. And the person gave me 2 nickels.
As if you didn't know how to count.
Right. And I said, I need to get 15 cents back. You forgot the other nickel. No, girl, it was 15. 2 nickels. That's it. That's it. And I look and I said, but I just gave you a quarter. And he insisted. And so then the tone of his voice said, I need to stop and go. What happened was that my dad was approached and he was told in no certain terms, you better get that child in line. So we all knew that the threat was always there. And so we knew that was more powerful than anything else.
Okay.
And they tried to shield, but they couldn't shield us so much.
Right.
So then that's when I would do little things like go to a five and dime store, that wasn't a five and dime store, or the little drugstore where they had, ice cream sodas and so forth. Well, we could get an ice cream soda, but we had to stand outside and go around to the back. And I don't know why. I would take my little sister, who was like 3, and I would take her in and put her on the stool at the counter.
At the whites only?
Yes.
Oh wow, you're brave. You're brave.
And then I would pretend that I didn't understand what they were saying when they said that I couldn't sit there.
Oh wow.
And then I would keep saying, but she can only have 1 scoop of ice cream now. I only want 1 too. And so then it would be like, hurry up, get on here, get out. But I got my ice cream.
You got your ice cream.
Yes.
All right.
But one thing I always wanted was a milkshake, and I did not have a milkshake until I was 17 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Because I refused to have one out of the window in the back.
Instead of being able to come sit at the counter.
Right.
Wow. And this is one of the things that I was talking with Bree earlier in the introduction of you being able to express to us how we take some of those little simple things for granted today, of just being able to get a milkshake.
Yes.
Being able to sit down and enjoy your milkshake on the inside. So we want to make sure that our guests that hear this show understand how blessed we are. To not deal with those little things. I don't even call them little things. What to us today would say a little.
Sure.
But back then it was something that was just profound.
Sure.
So, even what you sharing that with us, just tell us about how you grew up in a segregated, Virginia. So even when it came to the segregated schools, how did you maneuver your way through life and going through segregated schools?
Well, and segregated schools had pros and cons. Okay. And I say the pros would be that your instructors knew what you were experiencing. They had experienced even worse. They knew what your parents experienced because their parents had experienced the same or worse. So that was not something that wasn't a hurdle that we had to cross.
Okay. Do you feel like you got the same great or good education that the white-only schools were getting?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
So you were getting taught more on how to live and make it Black, and not how to live and make it in America. Is that what we could assume?
Our effort, our goal was to learn as much as we could.
Okay.
And our instructors, the teachers did the same. They wanted us to learn as much as we could, to always seek more knowledge and so forth. But when I say that the education wasn't the same, I took chemistry in high school. Okay. And so you had the periodic table. We had a chart with a periodic table. However, chemistry was, the instructor had taken baby food jars when her kids were little and put elements, salt, iron, in little baby food jars. Okay. We could look at them. We could not touch them. We could not do any experiments, nothing. So clearly that's not the same.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's not the same. And I do remember going past the white school and wishing that I could go into the library. And even when I think about my first day of school, I was smaller than all the other kids that lived around us, and I was the youngest. And we had to walk to school, and school was about 1.5 miles away. And no paved, there was a paved road, but in the South, the vegetation grows right onto the road. Yeah. And so then here I am, little, and I've got these short little legs. And when the bus carrying the white kids would go past us Black kids walking to school, they would yell, words to us. They would curse us and spit at us. And so then that was, you weren't going to escape that. You always knew that. But at the same time, you also knew that we were not responsible for their ignorance. And so, that was one thing. Just because they're ridiculous doesn't mean that you are, or that you can be. I always laugh now sometimes when our youngsters, kids, grandkids, well, I don't know what I want to be. I don't know how to have to find myself. That is not a luxury you have. That is not a luxury you have.
This interview is just so amazing. It's because, as you just said, we now in this time and age see it as a luxury.
Yes.
We see it as luxury. Like, I have a daughter and a son. My son's in college, thank God. My daughter, she was like, I don't want to to college.
Yeah.
I just want to finish high school and be done.
Yeah.
And I have to remind her, do you know how many people that have actually lost their lives?
Sure.
How many people who would have chose to lose their life just so they can get the education that you take for granted?
Yes.
So definitely, we want to make sure that all of you guys, again, who are listening, just listen to Dr. Elaine as she goes through this interview with us on today of just understanding and being grateful of the opportunities you have, and don't take them for granted. So, Dr. Elaine, I also want to know, at any point, did you ever go to an integrated school?
When I went to college.
That was your first time being amongst.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, with the integration, I know we're more diverse now. Was there any other races outside of the African American and the Caucasians?
I think I can give you the exact numbers.
Oh my gosh.
I think there were 7 African Americans.
Okay.
I think maybe 3 Asians.
Okay.
No Latinos. No. I went to a small college in Ohio.
Okay. So you had left Virginia.
Yes. Yes. And I did that on purpose because I knew that all of us had no money. So then, to go to an HBSU was going to be difficult because I would never have gotten enough money to be able to afford to go to college.
Gotcha.
Because my parents didn't have it.
Okay.
So then I went other places, and I also did not want to go and spend the time going to college, get a 4-year degree, only to be told what was historically the common thing, that you can't be hired because your degree is not good enough.
So you went to an HBCU?
I didn't.
Okay. You didn't.
And I purposely didn't because I thought
you didn't want to deal with that.
I didn't want to deal with that. Okay.
So we're going to get ready to take a break, Dr. Elaine. I mean, I'm loving this, guys. I feel like I'm in Black History class. Okay. All right. So we're going to actually take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to dive in a little deeper with getting past the segregation to the integration and where Dr. Elaine has gone in her travels, in her life, children, the whole nine. I want to know it all, Dr. Elaine. Okay.
Okay.
So you guys want to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Okay. Perfect. Thank you, guys.
97.3 FM would like to thank our sponsor, Great Giant Supermarket, for their support. Great Giant Supermarket is located at 1226 Madison Ave Southeast on the corner of Hall Street and Madison Avenue. Great Giant Supermarket has helped stabilize the Southeast Side Madison Square Commercial District by providing food security and access for local residents, and our community greatly appreciate their commitment. Great Giant Supermarket provides groceries, meats, hot food to go deli, and a full line of beverages including liquor. Great Giant Supermarket's meat department has just been remodeled and now have more meat selections available. Thank you, Great Giant Supermarket.
This is Yvette Hernandez. Be sure to tune in to my interview, the very first Hispanic Miss Rhode Island, USA, Monday, March 4th at 11 a.m. on Busy Breeze Hot Topics. Soy Yvette Hernández. Asegúrense de sintonar en mi entrevista, la primera Miss Rhode Island USA, el lunes 4 de marzo a las 11 a.m. en Busy Breeze Hot Topics.
WJWC, The Heat 97.3 FM is sponsored by Gerald R. Ford International Airport. Enjoy nonstop peace of mind when you choose one of our Gerald R. Ford International Airport's 30-plus nonstop routes. Learn more at flyford.org.
You are listening to Busy Breeze Hot Topics on the Heat 97.3 FM.
Hey guys, this is your girl Bree with Busy Breeze Hot Topics. I hope you've been tuning in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where me and my friends Lovey D and Jennifer Real 100 bring you the best in interviews, hot topics, entertainment news, and much, much more. If you can't be anywhere else, then be at Busy Breeze. We'll brighten up your day and make it just a little bit lighter.
Okay, and we are back with, again, the amazing Dr. Elaine Schott. She has already been talking to us about what it was like growing up in Virginia during the time of segregation, and we've moved on now to talking about her college years.
Okay.
And integration of college. So let's pick up there and tell us, what was your degree in?
My first degree was in social work and with a minor in psychology.
Okay.
And I went to a small religious college in Ohio.
Okay.
I chose to go out of state because I did not want to be hampered by having a degree and thought that would not be recognized. And at that time, I thought too, well, if nobody knows what the college was, because it was a small school, then they wouldn't just immediately dismiss my applications.
Okay.
And so that's what I did. And when I got there, I didn't know anybody. It didn't, for some reason, really didn't frighten me.
So was it uncomfortable for you finally being in a school of integration?
Not really. I was apprehensive. I was anxious.
Were you excited?
I was excited because, and I remember one of the first persons I met was this young woman who came in, and she was from Southern Ohio. She had a really, really strong Southern accent.
Oh, okay. Worse than mine.
Oh, you have none.
Okay. That's what.
Yeah. But she just came in, running into the room and saying, "Hi, my name is Maggie. Do you want to go get something to eat?"
Oh, wow.
And I thought, okay.
I'm curious, what was her race?
She was white because there were only 7 of us.
Okay.
And actually, I got there to the college earlier because I had to take a train and so forth. And so I arrived a couple of days before the regular student body did.
Okay.
And she also arrived a couple of days.
Okay.
Her parents were coal miners.
So where was she from? Was she used to being around people of color?
No.
Oh.
And it totally threw me because I wondered not only that she spoke to me, but then after she saw who I was, that she still wanted to go to dinner. And I'm thinking, I don't know where to go. It's a small
Were
town.
you not scared after dealing with all you dealt with in Virginia and the racism and prejudice? Did it make you a little bit apprehensive of of going out with someone that was non-African American?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I think it was what is it, the blind leading the blind?
Okay.
Because she was from a tiny small town. Her parents were very poor.
Okay.
She hadn't known anybody of color. I had been around white people, but I had no friends or anything like that.
Okay.
And I just sort of trusted. I figured, well, if I'm in Ohio, they probably aren't going to lynch me today.
Okay. Hopefully.
So I just sort of took it, and the school was a Christian affiliated college. Okay. And I thought, well, probably there won't be anybody like that here. Okay. I was mistaken, but nevertheless, it turned out fine. We are friends still today.
Oh, well, that's
yes, actually,
decades.
Yeah.
You guys talk often?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yes, we do. And actually, after 40 years of graduating, we got together and spent a weekend, and it was cool. It was really nice,
So I love the fact that you did not let what you dealt with the race issues in Virginia cause you to not, we'll use the word, be trusting of other Caucasians. So you let your guard down and you found a friend for life. Yes,
and in letting the guard down, I was always aware. And it's always like, what is it now? I say trust and verify, but you're cautious. Okay. And that caution never changes. It hasn't for me in 80 years. I don't know about for other people, but it hasn't for me. And you take your time, you watch, you read, and you get to be able to read people really closely and assess. And that's helped me in my life. And the other part of it is I don't mind my own company. So, if you don't want to be my friend, oh well.
You're your best friend, right?
I'll either find somebody else or I'll find something else to do. And usually it was reading and researching and that sort of thing. So that's why I think I was so enamored by learning.
So where else did you go with your education? Because you also got a PhD.
Yes, I did.
Okay, let's talk about that.
And I got first I got the bachelor's. I came to Michigan and I worked for a number of years and before my family started. And then I went back to graduate school and I was in Michigan. I was going to the University of Michigan and my first class, the instructor looked at the class and he saw, I think there were probably about 5 of us Blacks in the class. And he let it be known that, not everybody now in these classes is going to be able to make a good grade. You know that.
You think he was calling you out?
Think? Absolutely. He looked only at us. And so I'm thinking, okay, you crusty old ugly thing. I'm not paying attention to you. You probably can't even tie your shoe. So, my point was, I'm going to learn what I can learn. I'm going to study. I'm going to do and get out of it what I need to get out of
Right.
it. And so I feel blessed that I could maintain my focus. And my mother used to always say, just because you don't know something and then you don't have the answer doesn't mean an answer doesn't exist.
Oh, I love that. Y'all heard that right. Just because you don't have the answer doesn't mean the answer doesn't exist. I like that. Words to live by.
Yeah, very much so. And if you don't know it, find out. If you don't know where to find out, get help.
Get help. And that's the thing, I think a lot of people, their pride or arrogance won't let them ask for help. So just knowing that you overcame just the things that you have from a child to young adult to just even making the change of relocation to get that education that was deprived, so many others were deprived of, is like just, amazing within itself. So when you got your interdisciplinary social science part of your PhD and all, what did you use that to do in life? What did you do?
Actually, I used it to further my career options in higher education.
Okay.
Because actually getting into education was my second career.
Okay.
For over 25 years, I worked in direct practice.
Okay.
And so that opportunity was afforded to me, and I had done some administration and education prior to going to Grand Valley, to the university.
Okay.
And once I was there, I met lots of, interesting people and lots of different things to learn, and some wonderful colleagues and students who taught me a lot that I learned a lot from. And I always was intrigued by learning more.
Okay.
And growing up in a small town, my biggest fear was, what if I never know any more than I know now? And so whenever there was an opportunity to expand that, that was really,
I love it.
really good.
I love it.
But it was kind of interesting too, when I first went to undergraduate school, and my roommate, the person who first approached me, and several other people were going to the library. And there were like 7 of us, and we were all going to study. And I have to tell you, when I got to the library door, I physically froze.
Because you had a moment of thinking back when you were a young child and couldn't get into the library. Oh my gosh.
And it was like I had to push my legs to make the next step, the next step, the next step. And when I went into the library, I kept thinking, how long is it going to be before I get kicked out?
Wow.
And so those things can stay with you. And you can learn from them as well. But I think that it's also important to do as much as you can to learn about what your environment has been and what has been experienced by people who went before you. So people oftentimes, they have grandparents, they have parents, they have people who've been second parents, fictive families, whatever. And I, as an instructor, always try to encourage students, find out, go ask what the stories are.
Yeah.
Ask for your grandmom, ask your great grandparent, ask somebody who who's older. What was it like when you were my age? What did you do when you were a child? Because that's the beginning to learn.
And that was one of the things that Bree and I mentioned earlier before bringing you on, was just, how you guys as professors, teachers are like role models. And in some cases, you're like moms.
Yeah.
Your parents to those children that you didn't actually birth, but they see you as like mom.
Yeah.
So it's just great that, there's just so much we have to go over.
Yeah.
Can we bring you back for a part 2?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, because
absolutely.
It's just you just have so much knowledge. I don't think we could ever get it done in 10 shows, but I would love to have you back for another show if you're willing to come back, because there's so much more to cover.
Yes, there is.
I think you just very barely scratched the surface so far.
That's right.
Because we definitely want to talk more about the spotlight, the Sojourner Truth Spotlight.
Yes.
So can you tell us about what you do with the Descendants of Truth on the Sojourner Truth?
Yes. I was attracted to it because it is descendants of the truth.
Okay. Are you a descendant?
No, but
Okay.
there's always a truth.
You know?
Yes. Not that I know of.
Okay.
That's all I can say. It's not that I know of.
Okay.
But it just the title itself of the nonprofit, Descendants of the Truth. And so I think that there's always a search for the truth,
Absolutely.
and so that part of it. And of course their mission,
Okay. Can you tell us more about the mission for them? What is the purpose of the whole Sojourner Truth nonprofit?
To not only find out more about history, not only to appreciate more, but also to encourage people to learn what their background is and how that's affected them, how it helps them grow, what you're going to do with that information, how you're going to let it feed you. And then when it's time to not let it feed you, to even determine when is it not serving me well.
Okay.
I could be angry, I could be uptight for all my life, but how is that going to serve me?
So how did you become a part of this project?
Actually, my son was a friend of Corey McLeachy's,
Okay.
who lived not far from where I lived where we lived in Grand Rapids.
Okay.
And I don't know whether anybody here in the audience remembers Big Wheels, those toys that the kids. Yes, yes.
In a great machine.
Yes. And I would see all of these little boys, making all this noise, these big wheels. And he happened to be one of the kids that my son played with. And I didn't know that he was even affiliated with Sojourner Truth or that lineage at all.
Oh, so he is a descendant of Sojourner Truth.
Yes, he is.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So that's how I found out about it. And then, the kinds of things that Corey was getting started with, like one of them was he builds, and he is like a carpenter and among other things.
Okay.
But he had this logo. I think he's even made some T-shirts and some other things about it. It said, we use what is it, caulk guns? Caulking guns? Okay. So we use guns to build, not to kill.
I love it.
And so, that's really, so in terms of trying to build the history, to increase the knowledge of what it is, to be able to know how to stay focused, to how to do what you need to do and to get and maintain values, maintain your integrity, and maintain your sanity.
Wow.
Because those are the kinds. So anyway, so in terms of looking at that, there've been a lot of different fundraisers and so forth that Descendants has taken on, and then they have continued to try to expand that. It's still in its formative stages, but the role that I can play now that I've retired from academia is to try to help with the research and finding out and asking the questions why.
Okay, so
from where does it come? Why did you do it?
Do it. So what I want to know, so we can get ready to wrap up, we can take a break. Can you tell all of our listeners and viewers who will maybe watch the video, where can they get more information on the Sojourner Truth, Descendants of the Truth?
You can go to the nonprofit's website, and it's Descendants of the Truth @gmail.com.
Okay, and that's where they can send any kind of questions, comments. Okay, yes. Then when we bring you back, we want to give them a little bit more information on Sojourner Truth, Descendants of the Truth categories and everything that they have to offer. So we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back. So thank you, Dr. Elaine.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for listening to me.
Yes, I can't wait to bring you back. That's what I want to talk about. I just want to hear all about just how you just overcame. It's amazing to me, because I am one of those who was like, if I was back then, I would have did this, I would have did that. Yeah.
Wow, what an amazing story from Dr. Elaine Schott. I want a part 2. Are you gonna bring her back for part 2?
Bring her back. She's already confirmed she'd be more than happy. So yes.
Okay.
So much to dive into.
Awesome. Okay, well, you guys, we're done. This is it. Catch us on the next show. I like to always say, be good, be great, never procrastinate. Sky's the limit as long as you realize your true potential. This is your girl, Bree, with Busy Bree's Hot Topics and Lovey D, and we are out.
Tune in to hear the latest in entertainment, culture, and sports on Busy Breeze Hot Topics on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. noon Eastern Standard Time. You can also listen to us online at www.theheat973.com.
This program comes to you by the Community Voice, La Voz Magazine, administrated by Dr. Jose Flores, Editor-in-Chief. You can find him at 1052 Granville Avenue, Southwest New Michigan. You can reach him at 616-581-6271. Gracias, Jose.
Funding for 97.3 FM is provided in part by La Familia Stop and Shop, located at 1066 Cesar E. Chavez Avenue Southwest, providing groceries, convenience, and libations to local community.
Hey guys, this is your girl Bree with Busy Breeze Hot Topics. I hope you've been tuning in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where me and my friends Lovey D and Jennifer Real 100 bring you the best in interviews, hot topics, entertainment news, and much, much more. If you can't be anywhere else, then be at Busy Breeze. We'll brighten up your day and make it just a little bit lighter.
Be sure to tune in Monday, March 4th at 11 a.m. for a special interview with the lovely Yvette Hernandez, the very first Hispanic Miss Rhode Island, USA. A powerful interview with perseverance, strength, and beating the odds, only on Busy Breeze Hot Topics.
Thanks for tuning in to Busy Breeze Hot Topics on the Heat 97.3 FM.